have time for a couple questions from the audience, if anyone has any questions to ask.
Yeah, prior to the revolution, failed to see it coming. Why is that?
Well, as I tried to explain, the social protest was we were not strangers to social protest. We saw it all the time. And what was really different was to see social protest escalate and move from city to city and from place to place. The political scientists will tell you that that one of the reasons that the revolution took hold in Iran was the political scientists who have this sort of great man theory of politics will say that it was irresoluteness on the part of the Shah and on part of the Shah's regime that allowed the protests to go forward. I have a kind of another idea. I think it was not irresoluteness, but in retrospect, I mean, I think I can't tell you that I knew this before the revolution, but in retrospect, I think that the bond between the regime and the people was broken, and at the point where because in the hierarchical structure of Iranian society, the people who are at the top of the hierarchy are supported by people below, but they also have to support the people below them. And if they stop doing that, then the relationship is broken, and they're no longer able to maintain their power. Now, this happened in terms of the revolution, but actually, we should have been able to see that this is a basic characteristic of much of hierarchy in Iran. You see it even in office situations where you have a boss who is not supporting the people who's working under him or her, terrorizes them, and the workers work very, very arduously to undermine his authority, and eventually he leaves or is kicked out. And this is, I think, what really happened with the Shah, but we did not see it. And I think that the point where I knew that this was the beginning of the end, the point where I was certain that it was going to happen, was when I saw soldiers firing on innocent women and children in Tehran. And I was there. I was actually there in Jaleh Square. When I saw this with my own eyes, and I saw women and children dying from soldiers' bullets, and I knew this was the end. This is not the way that you are able to cement power, because what you're doing is breaking the bond that is required between a person who is in a superior position and a person who's in an inferior position. But before that moment, I wouldn't have predicted it. Over here. Yeah, Michael, you were going to...
Yes, could you provide a practical illustration of how you bring a shade of nuance between explaining and advocating? For example, when you address a non-informed American audience, how do you explain Ma'bat Amrika, or how do you allay atomic fears?
Well, we had actually a discussion about Ma'bat Amrika this morning. And at the time of the revolution, people were saying Ma'bat everything, practically. In the United States, we had a very interesting court case, which involved a African-American rapper who got on stage and he said, "Kill the president, kill the president." Bill Above, actually, from the University of Pennsylvania, was brought into court, who pointed out that in African-American vernacular, kill didn't mean kill. It just didn't mean it. It meant something like, down with, or I disapprove of. That's precisely my explanation with somebody who says Ma'bat Amrika. You have to, as a linguist, you have to contextualize these things culturally. And with regard to the atomic question in Iran, I have a very simple answer. There is no evidence anywhere that Iran ever had a nuclear weapons program, has one now, or ever will have one. No evidence at all. And anybody who says there is evidence is lying. It's just a fact. It's just a simple fact. So that's an easy one. Not everybody believes me when I say that, but if I'm confronted, that's my answer. And then they say, well, I know that's not true. And I say, why do you know that's not true? And they said, well, I mean, because I read it in the New York Times. And I said, go back and read what they wrote in the New York Times. David Sanger, who regularly lies. But you'll see David Sanger and other people who've talked about it say, Iran may have a nuclear weapons capacity sometime in the future, just like I do, because I know how to build a bomb. All I have to do is just look in Wikipedia; it'll tell you. So I have a nuclear weapons capacity. So, and I've got all that uranium in my backyard, and so all I have to do is just get a few thousand centrifuges, and I can make one. So. This is nonsense. It's political nonsense, and so you confront people like that with facts, I think. Yeah.
I think my perception has been that you've been one of the anthropologists with the greatest access to Iran, at least in the last decade or so, if I'm not wrong. I feel like you send a lot of reports from Iran. I see them on Gulf 2000, and I'm just wondering if you can comment on. I know you also, every now and then get accusations of all sorts of being compromised and so on. Can you just comment on that a little bit, and how you deal with that, and what in your own perception is the reason for being able to have the access that you've had?
Well, I actually don't have all that much access, to tell you the truth. I wish I had more. I'm going to have to. I want to talk to Mary about how she got a visa Party. That's right.
I have a friend who's got a relative in the foreign ministry, and a few things like that.
Yeah.
Very difficult.
Yeah, it is for people who don't have an Iranian passport. It's very hard. Where people don't have an Iranian passport or a European passport or a Japanese passport, which is a good one for getting into Iran. It is very difficult, and as much as as well known as I am in Iran, I'm quoted in the Iranian papers. I appear on Iranian television, and all that. That doesn't vitiate the political problems that the United States has with Iran. I remember being in Tehran airport, and I fell in with a bunch of German guys who were working on an engineering project. I said that it was really hard for me to get a visa even for a week. And they said, really? And the guy showed me his passport. He had a 5-year multiple entry visa. Right, German engineer. And probably didn't speak any Persian, and was working on a specific project. So these things are definitely possible. That's an existence proof of something that exists, but it has not been easy. One of the things that though that I do is I keep in a very close touch with many people through electronic media. I'm corresponding with people by email and by Skype and in other ways. And now with regard to, so I think that the idea that I might be going to Iran because because I don't know, some people have accused me of taking money from the Iranians. I don't do it. Except for, if I go to a conference and they pay for my hotel, I think that's kind of okay. You're very kind to pay for my hotel here, so I don't think I've, I don't think that I'm a supporter of Governor Christie as a result. Although Princeton doesn't have much to do with Governor Christie, I know that. So I think that frankly, as anthropologists, we all have to live with this. We are continually, we're continually suspicious. Because look, we go to these places, we know the language, we know intimate things about the place, the first time, even in my first experience when I was a kid, you know, in the Persian Gulf, the local gendarme came to me like the first week I was there, and he said, "You're a spy." And I said, "Oh, really?" And he said, "Yeah, I know you're a spy." And I said, "Oh, how do you know that?" And he says, "Well, why would you be here otherwise? Why would you be here?" So, you know, it was a kind of a joke. It got to be kind of a joke for us. He'd accuse me of being a spy every time he saw me. And then finally, after I'd been there a couple of months, he came and he said, "I've got it figured out." He said, "I've got it figured out." And I said, "What's that?" And he said, "Well, you're an American, so, you know, you're speaking Persian, so Americans can't speak Persian. They just can't learn it. So I know that you are a spy for India." So I've lived with this all my life, and I think many of you have as well.
Okay, we have time for just 2 more quick questions, really quick.
Mary?
A really good question.
Yes.
I've been thinking about this issue. Does Iran ethnography have an effect on ethnography anthropologists elsewhere? And I have a number of different attitudes and a number of different questions about it. And I am, you know, on the one hand, I think there is, then I really wonder about it. I mean, Iran is so much in the news right now, and it's such a big deal. And how come this room isn't absolutely full of all the educated people at Princeton? I mean, why isn't there serious interest? I mean, there's oh yeah, Iran is about to drop a bomb on us, but where's the real interest? Aren't people curious about, don't they want to know? Isn't there a desire for knowledge about this country that we've been in such turmoil with? And the same thing, you know, in anthropology. Where is the interest in the American public that are so involved in knowing Iran is a terrorist country and, you know, is developing a bomb against us, and like Iraq is about to bomb us, you know, shortly? Where is the real serious interest and desire for knowledge? And the same with other anthropology, you know, other anthropologists. I mean, we do have a lot of material. On the one hand, you know, when I was doing, for my advancement, I looked at where I've been cited. There are hundreds of citations. And believe me, I am one of the lowest people who have been quoted. I mean, you know, if you know how to do it, you can find where all you are cited. There's a lot of citations. And then another issue we've got, thanks to, well, in part to the United States, I mean, people say, well, where's the Middle East anthropology? I'll tell you where it is. It's being bombed in Afghanistan. It's being bombed in Iraq. You know, it's being warred on in Syria. Yeah, right. Why aren't people over in these countries doing anthropology? I value my life. I've got grandchildren. You know, and then in Iran, look at the situation we've been in the last 37 years. And then we wonder, well, where are all the Iranian anthropologists? Thank God, I met 2 or 3 young people, I think some of them from Yale, who are just, you know, finished up their dissertation work and are about to publish on Iran. You know, this is thrilling. But, well, anyway, that's the end of my diatribe.
Thank you so much.
You're most welcome.